Hello and welcome to the PianoMan'sLibrary. I have just hopefully a quick little reading recap for the last little bit. I haven't had a whole lot of time to read with our homeschool started up again, and days where I can actually get out and mow the grass and all the responsibilities that must be done. So, but I have completed 3 books. The first one is Mansfield Park by Jane Austen. This was my attempt to participate in Jane Austen July. So, which I didn't start till near the middle of the month of July, and I didn't finish it until into August. So there's that. Life. It happens. So, in Mansfield Park, you have sweet little Fanny, who goes to live with her rich relatives and rich family, and they helped raise her because her family is fallen on some hard times. And for the first while, at least, she is treated kind of like a charity case, with the exception of her cousin Edmund, who is pretty level-headed most of the time. And then at a certain point when Sir Thomas goes away for a while, they have people over and things happen, and Fanny's the only one with any common sense. And then she continues to be the only one with common sense for a while. But it was pretty good. She gets pursued, I shall say, by Henry Crawford. Now, I almost don't want to read this little quote because it might give just too much away. But I think everybody is fairly familiar with this anyway, so it's probably not going to be too much of a surprise. Anyway, and how do you think I mean to amuse myself, Mary, on the days that I do not hunt? This is Henry Crawford speaking to his sister. Am I to grow too old to go out more than 3 times a week? But I have a plan for the intermediate days. And what do you think it is? She says, to walk and ride with me, to be sure. Not exactly, though I shall be happy to do both. But that would be exercise only for my body, and I must take care of my mind. Besides that, would be all recreation and indulgence, without the wholesome alloy of labor, and I do not like to eat the bread of idleness. No, my plan is to make Fanny Price in love with me. Anyway, she does have a lot of feelings for Mr. Crawford. But I'll let you, if you haven't read it yet, find out what they are. So there was that one. And then I happened to pick up The Girl with the Pearl Earring by Tracy Chevalier. I think is how her name's pronounced. And this one, I don't know. I liked it. And at the same time, something just didn't agree with me with it. And I don't know what it is. So anyway, we have a young girl. She was 16 maybe, who goes to work because her father lost his career when he went blind in an accident. And so she needed to go and help support their family. So she became a maid for a certain artist. And it goes well enough. It's fairly fluid. It's more, it doesn't have any chapters. It's more kind of episodic, that one on top of the other. And it's just kind of divided up by year in the book. So that's all the division that's really in there. And it takes place in the 1600s, I believe. That's not sure. I think that's about right. Anyway, and she goes, it's okay. Most of the time, she's just a really good worker. There's a few other little things in her character that I didn't particularly like. But she starts off very morally sound, and then she starts telling little lies, or omissions, and until she's doing more than that. So, yeah, I liked it, but I didn't like something about it. So that's all I'll say on that one. It is pretty clean. With the exception of maybe one or two little things in it. So, would I recommend this to all of my friends? I don't know that I would go that far. So, there's that. And then the last book that I completed was this one here, The Long Walk, A Story of War and the Life That Follows. And that is by Brian Kastner. Now, I read some of this when I picked the book up. He worked for the Explosive Ordnance Disposal Unit in the Iraq War. And he served 3 tours of duty. And he was in a very, very dangerous job. He didn't actually go, and even though he was trained in the military, he was actually he was in the Navy. But he requested to go into this bomb disposal unit and get training for that. So he was on that team. He was because an engineer by trade through the Army, and he had military that protected them when they were out, so he didn't actually have to, like, he wasn't in the fighting part of it, but he had to carry a gun and to defend himself and his team. So anyway, yeah, it was really, really good. It didn't get really gory. No, maybe I shouldn't say that. There was a couple of scenes some people might not like. Yes, but if you're reading about war, you probably are not super squeamish. So, but this book, it was very. He used all of his senses. It was very propelling dialogue, very fragmented and manic, and kind of crazy. For most of the book, he describes himself as crazy. And that happened after he came back. He was diagnosed with PTSD for a while, and then they said, no, you don't actually have that. But he did have a TBI, and he's really good about describing that traumatic brain injury. Of course, if you're hanging around bombs, no matter if they're close or far away, it's going to do some damage. It's going to shake you up. And he did a really good job of explaining why this is a fairly new as in from around that war. Like, it's the Vietnam War, they didn't really have that much of issues with TBIs because people usually didn't survive if they had that kind of a trauma. But equipment and the suits that they had to wear and the vehicles that they drove were improved so much that people survived and often didn't even have physical injuries, but then they would have brain. It would rattle your brain, damage it, and yeah, so it's fairly not throughout all the years of history that have had wars. Yes, it was a very, very good book. His life after, and his poor wife, my heart went out to both of them. And it was quite tragic for a few years. But their marriage pulled through, and a lot of the injuries slowly healed. takes a very long time, but it does, TBIs do heal and improve. You might not have all of your memories back. So this, he says in the very beginning that I'll just read what he says. Author's note. I served as an officer in the United States Air Force. No, Air Force, not Navy. But he was working with the Army instead of the Air Force. From December 1999 to September 2007, I deployed to Saudi Arabia in August 2001, to Balad, the central Iraq, in January 2005, and to Kirkuk in northern Iraq in May of 2006. This is the story of those events and the times that came after. Everything in this book feels true. It's as correct as a story can be from someone with blast-induced memory lapses. Nothing was changed to create a moral or to ease discomfort. It's as real as I can make it, though reality and objectivity sometimes have little to do with one another. Yeah, it was, and it skips back and forth in time, and it is a really, really good book. So if you are into war stories, actually, if you can handle a little bit of war scenes, I would highly recommend this book because it does a really good job of letting you know what it's like for the people who are fighting for your country, what they're going through, what they live through at the time and after. It does a really, really good job of that. So those are the books that I completed. I have a number of books that I'm in the middle of. So still working on a Genji. I'm hoping to finish it by the end of August. Whoopsie. And yes, I'm hoping to finish that soon. And then I started reading Ernest Hemingway's To Have and Have Not. After the long walk, instead of destroying your body, I needed something in healing. So I started Miracle at Tenwick, which is about a missionary doctor in Africa. And I am slowly working my way through Carolina Clay. It is very good. So much useful educational information in here. This is a nonfiction, as is this one. And this is about the slave Dave, who was a potter. So I'm in the Carolinas, and this is very interesting information. It goes into the laws and stuff from that period and how they changed, how they were followed or not followed. And yeah, it's good. It goes into the author's family tree as well, history, and it's just good. I also started Blue Eyes, A Pair of Blue Eyes by Thomas Hardy. I'm working on that one. I have been just a moody reader lately, so I'm just going in with everything and working on. I'm listening to Huckleberry Finn right now, and I've started this one because I want to do a comparison of that. And I guess those are the only ones that I have been. Oh, and in our homeschool, we are going to be working through a bunch of Plato. So I've been rereading some of those things. So yes, that is what I've been reading. We picked up the 20 Years After by Alexander Dumas, which I did not have. I don't know if I have an unabridged Three Musketeers, but I will have to find that out. Yes, and that is what is going on in my bookish life. So please let me know what you're reading. I will talk about any kind of books, in case you haven't noticed. And I'm here to find out what you think, or what you think about the books that I have read, the ones that I'm working on, what you're reading. All book talk is welcome. Okay, so like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you again